Okay, welcome in Rock Hard Music. This is Rob, your host, and today I'm going to do a quick rundown of the best and worst song on the Kiss studio albums, The Makeup Years, as a part one. Now, clarifications by saying the best and worst. If I say the worst, it does not mean I hate the song. It just means that there has to be a least favorite on any album for any person. Anybody who says I love them all the same, okay, they're not your kids. You don't have to say that. But doing the makeup years first. So I am not including live albums. I am not including partial albums, all Alive 2 or Killers or Smashes or anything like that that has just a couple or a few studio tracks. I want full release albums and only U.S. release albums that did not have, and even if it did have, I'm not including bonus tracks that were not part of the original session recordings to be put on the live album. So let's start off with Kiss debut album, 100,000 Years, Black Diamond, Cold Gin, Deuce, Firehouse, Kissin' Time, Let Me Know, Love Theme from Kiss, Nothing to Lose, and Strutter. This album, I would have to say, is pretty easy for me. For my favorite, I'm going to choose Nothing to Lose. I love this song. I've always loved this song. I love it if Gene does it. I love it if Peter does it. I love it if Eric Singer does it. It doesn't matter. It's just a great song, a great chorus, and a real fun time listen. My worst for this album, or least favorite, however you want to word it, is going to be the love theme from Kiss. I'm not a big instrumental type guy. Even when I was a kid, I was kind of like, what is this? I mean, it was kind of different. So it was Kiss. So, it was good to me then, but now I'm not an instrumental guy. And so that made my choice fairly simple for my least favorite. Moving on to Hotter Than Hell, gets a little bit more difficult for me on this album. We got All the Way, Coming Home, Going Blind, Got to Choose, Hotter Than Hell, Let Me Go Rock and Roll, Mainline, Parasite, Strange Ways, Watching You. And I got to tell you, it'll always come down to Got to Choose, Hotter Than Hell, and Mainline for me on this album. But if I have to choose one, it's going to be the title track, Hotter Than Hell. I think this song should have been sped up a little bit. I think this song should have been a staple throughout their 50 years live. I just think it's a great, hard, heavy song. I even loved Rip and Destroy, right, off of Kiss Meets the Phantom. It's just a great, great song. My least favorite on this one is going to have to be Strange Ways, mostly because it just drags, right? It's strange. To me, this is not Peter's best work. He's got some good power stuff on this song, but overall, the songs just kind of drags for me. So, moving on to Dressed to Kill. Regardless of how classic it is, in my opinion, one of the worst Kiss album covers in history. Anything for My Baby, Come On and Love Me, Getaway, Ladies in Waiting, Love Her All I Can, Rock and Roll Night, Rock Bottom, Room Service, She and Two Timer. Man, this would come down to Come On and Love Me and Rock Bottom. I'm going to have to go with Come On and Love Me just because it is such a unique style of a song, not just for Kiss, but for rock in general back in the 70s. I think the lyrics are brilliant. It's just a very, very unique song, and I absolutely love it. Least favorite would probably have to be Ladies in Waiting. Just not much special about the song. This one clearly feels like something that was written before Kiss was Kiss. But there you have it for Dress to Kill. Moving on to the iconic Destroyer. And we've got Beth, Detroit Rock City, Do You Love Me, Flamin' Youth, God of Thunder, Great Expectations, King of the Nighttime World, Shout It Out Loud, and Sweet Pain. This would have been a much more difficult album for me to pick a worse if it wasn't for one on here. So my favorite, though, I believe, is in my opinion, the most underrated, underplayed, and most unrecognized Kiss song that should have been an anthem and a hit for decades, and that is Flamin' Youth. From the killer vocals of Stanley through the verses to the awesome chorus to the amazingly melodic guitar solo, and of course the breakdown with the Flamin' Youth, in the middle. Just a fabulous song. And for me, the worst on this is Easy for Me and Beth. Not a terrible song, but even as a kid, just not my thing. Again, I'm not a ballad guy. And if I do listen to ballads, it usually has to be a heavy ballad. By that, I mean even heavier than what would be considered an 80s power ballad. I mean heavy ballad like I Still Love You or something like that. Just a real soulful, heavy type track. So Beth, what has to be my worst for this album. Moving on to Rock and Roll Over. And over the years, with the online presence of Kiss fans and podcasts, it surprises me that this album gets as much love as it does. Not a bad album, but I don't understand why this one is considered so cherished to so many people, other than the fact maybe it was your first Kiss album. Baby Driver, Calling Dr. Love, Hard Luck Woman, I Want You, Ladies Room, Love 'Em, Leave 'Em, Making Love, Mr. Speed, See You in Your Dreams, and Take Me. My favorite on this one is Fairly Easy in I Want You. I love the slow intro to the power proceeding after that, to back to the slow. Just a great Paul Stanley signature song. And the weakest one on this, my least favorite one on this, the worst one on this, I would have to go with Baby Driver. Normally I love Peter's songs, but this one is it's lackluster for better terminology. The chorus is okay, and I love the lead licks towards the end, but overall the verses are so weak and so boring. I still like the song, but it's easily, to me, I wouldn't say easily, but it's my least favorite on this album. Moving on to Love Gun, to me, one of the most underrated Kiss albums from the makeup days. Almost Human, Christine 16, Got Love for Sale, Hooligan, I Stole Your Love, Love Gun, Plaster Caster, Shock Me, Then She Kissed Me, Tomorrow and Tonight. And there are so many good songs on this album that it is very difficult for me to put one above the rest, but if I had to, I would go with Tomorrow and Tonight as my favorite. To me, a criminally underrated song, an ignored song, other than Alive 2. This should have been a staple all the way through. This is a great anthem, party, sing-along song to get the crowd going. You got the breakdown in the middle with the singing. It's just a great, great song. My least favorite on this one, Got Love for Sale. I actually almost don't like this song, no matter how hard I try. It's just, it almost just doesn't fit the album, right? It's like a different band stuck a song in there. So moving on to Dynasty, and we will go in here with 2000 Man, Charisma, Dirty Livin', Hard Times, I Was Made for Loving You, Magic Touch, Save Your Love, Sure Know Something, and X-Ray Eyes. My favorite on this one could be Charisma. It could be Dirty Livin'. It could be Sure Know Something. It could be X-Ray Eyes. But I'm going with Magic Touch. The epic mid-tempo power ballad, great falsetto work. The music is fabulous. I just love the power and feeling of this song. My least favorite on this one, I will have to go with. Man, I don't really hate any of these songs, but probably Save Your Love just because it's kind of whiny and drony. It doesn't do much for me. I would skip that one more than half the time, so that has to be my least favorite. Moving into Unmasked, one of my favorite Kiss albums. And this one's a little more difficult for me. We got Easy As It Seems, Is That You, Naked City, Shandy, She's So European, Talk to Me Tomorrow, Torpedo Girl, Two Sides of the Coin, What Makes the World Go Around, and You're All That I Want. And man, I could literally choose all but one off of this, and I would be satisfied for my favorite. But I am going to go with What Makes the World Go Around. I just think it is so singable and so groovy. Paul's vocals are so awesome on this song. I'm probably the only person in the world who would choose this song off of this album. And my least favorite on this one is Simple. Did not like it when the album came out. As a preteen, I did not like it as a late teen. I did not like it in my 20s and 30s, and I do not like it now. And that is Torpedo Girl. I think the song is epically childish, cheesy. Man battle stations, torpedoes. What the hell is that? The song itself is choppy. I just don't get it. Made my choice easy. And moving on to The Elder, or the music from The Elder, as some correctionists out there will say. World Without Heroes, Dark Light, Escape from the Island, Fanfare, I, Just a Boy, Mr. Blackwell, Odyssey, Only You, The Oath, and Under the Rose. I will not be counting Fanfare, as that is just some stupid horns playing for 20 seconds. My favorite on this one is really kind of easy, although I love a lot of Gene songs on here, but I am going with The Oath simply because it just ripped your head off right before the album went into an area that none of us expected. Some didn't like it, some loved it, like myself, but it stood out on the album as a hard, in-your-face, epic battle cry for me. Paul's vocals were on another planet in this song. Great song. And my weakest on this one is going to be easy for me again. Escape for the Island. I do not care for instrumentals, and this one in particular is rather boring. So there you have it. And we go to Creatures on any given day of the week. My one or two favorite Kiss album, along with Lick It Up. Creatures of Night Danger, I Love It Loud, I Still Love You, Keep Becoming Killer, Rock and Roll Hell, Saint and Sinner, and War Machine. And I am going to go with man, I'm going to go with Saint and Sinner on this. I could have went with Creatures. I love Creatures. But Saint and Sinner is just, this is where Gene is at his best, right? This album and the next, Lick It Up, the two albums where Gene should have been and stayed for the remainder of Kiss's career. It's just a badass song. I love it. I love the chorus. Deuces Are Wild. Yeah, it's a winner. I love Creatures, but I got to go Saints and Sinners. And my weakest on this one will be War Machine. This is not necessarily a product of overplay as much as it's a product of I don't understand why it was overplayed in the first place. Was always a weaker track on this album other than the intro for me, and how it had developed into being a mainstay over the last 10, 15 years on their set list is mind-boggling to me. I don't think, Paul placates to, you can't write the set list for the diehards with obscure stuff. You got to do it for, the casual fans. Okay, but what casual fan's going to miss this in the set? I don't get it, but whatever. So yeah, my least favorite, War Machine. So there you have it. We are going to be coming back at you with the non-makeup years soon. And write down in the comments if you're a fan. What are some of your favorites and least favorites of the album? And until next time, thanks for watching.